Okay, so let's do a quick run through about what the NDIS is, how people are eligible for the NDIS, etc. So this is important information for you. Also know though that things do change, okay? So this is the current information that we have for you, but it might be different in a year's time, for example. So the National Disability Insurance Scheme is the NDIS, okay? And it's aimed at all people under 65 with a permanent and significant disability who need reasonable and necessary supports to enjoy an ordinary life. So there's a couple of key terms there. Significant, so we know what a permanent disability is, but significant can be a bit open to interpretation, and reasonable and necessary support. So they, again, can be a little bit open for interpretation. The NDIS is meant to allow people to achieve their goals if they have a disability, more independence, community involvement, employment, well-being, those kinds of things. Now, because it's an insurance scheme rather than just a welfare payment, it's meant to be a lifetime approach. So if we invest in people now, it will be easier for them in the future. It might be more cost effective as well. It's meant to support people, but also their families and their carers. And it's meant to provide opportunities also for people to refer out to existing support services in Australia. Now, the NDIS hasn't come out of nowhere, so it's come from activism. So that activism led to the Everybody Counts campaign, okay, and the Productivity Commission's public inquiry into disability services. And what they found was there was like a need for much more long-term planning and service provision for people. Then the Council of Australian Governments, which is COAG, that's all the state governments come together in COAG, they said, okay, this idea for a national disability insurance scheme, good idea, let's do that. And that was launched in 2013. Of course, it's only the NDIS Act and rules that allow that to be implemented, and we've seen full implementation in the last year throughout Australia. Okay, so there's a lot of objectives and principles to the NDIS. I'm going to put these up here. Know that different ones will apply to different people at different times, obviously. Okay, so the same rights as other people. Participation and contribution of people with a disability in social economic life is encouraged through the NDIS. Certainty for people and their families around the care and support that they have. The idea of choice. So you should be able to have choice about what works for you in terms of taking those risks that we've talked about before, in terms of goals, plannings, all of those things. To receive reasonable and necessary supports. To be free from abuse, neglect and exploitation. The right to complain, to have a grievance, to have that responded to. The right to look at your own best interests and exercise choice and control. And that should be maximised in a way that's culturally appropriate and appropriate to individual circumstances. Also, privacy and dignity should be respected. That's really important. So there's lots of sorts of supports that the NDIS funds and, allows us to deliver on. So they're funded supports for participants. So this can be individual kind of support packages. So the individual has to be eligible for this. You have to have severe or profound activity limitations, and the supports that you're asking for, the budget and the support that you want has to be reasonable and necessary for you to reach your goals and aspirations. And you get this in your little individualised plan, okay? To be eligible for that, of course, you have to prove that you actually have a disability. In a lot of cases, you can't just say that you have a disability. You have to have medical support for that. So that can be a bit of a problem. We'll get to that. The capacity building, linkages and information. So that's tier 2. So that's people who aren't NDIS participants, but these sort of people will build more inclusive, so it could be organisations that actually get this money as well to build more inclusive society, basically, through participation. And then there's the early childhood, early intervention approach. So this is for young kids with a disability. The idea is if we plug in lots of supports for children at this age, so for instance, if a child had autism, we might plug in a lot of supports here in terms of occupational therapy or something like that, so that that child has the best possible outcomes available to them. So it's a very intensive plan that they have. And they also will be an NDIS participant with their little individualised plan as well. So there's these three kind of approaches: the individual, the agency, and the early childhood approach. So the NDIS is really supporting people in two levels: social level, economic level. So what we mean by that is here. So the social level, having those relationships, being connected to community; economic, being paid, but also as a paying customer, you should be happy with what you're doing. So you can see an example here. So, you've got your community here, your relationships with people, but you're also able to do what you want, live where you want, etc. So choice and control are really important as well here. So what we want to consider here is someone's rights to autonomy and participation, their personal, social and political worlds. They should have those kind of choices. Choice is a means of expressing, maintaining identity, dignity, autonomy, self-determination or control. So the idea of choice, control, very, very central to the NDIS. It's a great little diagram here. This may be your pathway to getting an individual support plan in particular. So you can see here someone might make contact with the NDIS, and they might visit or phone or whatever, internet. Then we'll see, look, is there permanent or significant disability here? Are they Australian resident? Are they under 65? Then they have to have. So note that I think actually New Zealand citizens are not eligible under the NDIS, so that's an interesting point. You start a conversation, make a plan, etc., etc. Doesn't always work quite like that. Let's just have a look at the web page for the NDIS. Okay, so a lot of people will be accessing the NDIS via a web page, and so for starters, we've got to see here that someone needs to be able to read to access the page. You can change the font size, the contrast, the language, but still that's kind of difficult for people. And to use a website, you need to know how to navigate around it, I suppose, as well. There's been problems over the years with this website, basically, is that it's not accessible for people. They can't understand it. It's not clear where they go on the website. So things not uploading in the way that they should. So just know that we do our best efforts, but it's very hard when you're using something like a web page for such a diverse community for it to work for everyone. But there's been sort of this idea that it probably would work for everyone. I don't know if that's really all that true. So what you can see here is that you need to reach some sort of requirement within the NDIS to be eligible. Okay, so this is the disabilities: intellectual, cognitive, neurological, sensory or physical impairments. So we're back to the language of impairment here. Permanent, or something that can result in a reduced functional capacity to communicate, to interact socially, learning, mobility. Self-care, we mean that looking after yourself, not just in getting a pedicure kind of way. Your economic and social participation that we've talked about as well. It's likely that you might need to use the NDIS for your lifetime, and an impairment that may vary in intensity over time, but it's likely to be permanent. So there's a lot of barriers to eligibility. So I'm going to get you to have a look at that in a moment.